Okay, I want to just begin um, by expressing our thoughts to the Indiana basketball family and to Terry Hutchins, who's a longtime reporter that covers Indiana. I know he's been involved in a difficult accident, and those things are tough. I don't know Terry well, but our thoughts and prayers are with his family right now, and we're hoping and praying for a full recovery. As far as the game is concerned, I'll give Youngstown State a lot of credit. I thought they really controlled the tempo in the first half, and they had played that way a little bit in the last game, but they had not played that way up until this point. So give them credit, but we have a really long way to go, and I'm certainly concerned, but I think it's not. I can't say I didn't expect that we would have some moments where we look like we just don't have a great understanding of how we need to play, given the number of new pieces we have. But we had a lot of moments like that in the game where our first half was awful offensively.
Was it awful offensively because of stuff they were doing? Did you like the shots you were getting?
I liked some of the shots we were getting, but they were playing really slow, and that's fine. I mean, they were controlling the tempo. That's a decision they made, and I give them credit for doing that. And I thought we were rushed offensively, and we tried to attack in transition, and we had a couple. We had some good looks, but I did not feel like we imposed ourselves at all offensively in the first half, and I thought we just didn't play with purpose, and that's players, coaches. That's on all of us. We just did not play with purpose.
Are you surprised you haven't had more halves like that to this point in the season?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Adam, a little bit. I think I expected that. But we got to get it fixed, and we got to figure out how we need to play, and we got to do that way more consistently than what we're doing right now.
You said yesterday that I think you said yesterday that you were interested to see how Caleb would respond in practice coming off the game he had the other day.
Yeah.
What did you? Obviously, he finished well in the second half today, but what did you think about his practice yesterday and his approach coming into today?
It's been good. I think it's been good. Like I said, leading up to the Bucknell game, I thought he had the best couple days of practice in terms of finishing. He still has to meet balls and play through contact a little bit better and finish. But I got high expectations for him. I want him to finish every one and get an and one, and he can still be better in some of those areas, and his defense can still be better. But I'm really proud of him. I'm also, and I want to make sure that I say this, because I'm really proud of our group in the second half, because they were fully committed to playing through him. Not everybody we plays like that, where it's single coverage and they're kind of playing behind. But our team was really committed to finding him in the second half, and everybody that played deserves credit for that.
And you had mentioned against Bucknell that you felt like that they weren't feeling you enough defensively, and then it seemed like times in the first half today you were really encouraging your guys to get up into them. Do you just not have the consistent intensity you need on that end right now?
I think our ball pressure needs to improve. I just think it needs to improve, and that's one of the areas we got a lot to work on. I mean, we have a lot to work on, but that's certainly one of them.
This team seems like it has to see its own blood before it gets really moving, if you know what I mean. They need to kind of get slapped in the face.
That means we're not mature enough. That means we're not yet mature enough to understand that's a recipe for disappointing losses. You know, we'll see if we learn. And coach players, we got to be better with that. But that's I think reveals just some maturity, that areas we need to grow in.
Chris, CJ said that there's times where you'll let the players kind of police themselves in situations like tonight when things aren't going well. How do you, I guess, when do you make the decision where you and your coaching staff needs to step in, or where the veterans can kind of take over things, and how did that work tonight?
You know, you can't obviously control everything as a coach, and it's kind of like if you're a parent and you have a kid, you know, you can't keep them from failure, and they got to experience some difficult moments and failure and hard things. And you know, my daughter's got to figure out, you know, that life can be hard at times, and she's got to find their way. And Daddy and Mommy can't come and say, hey, listen, we're going to protect you from everything. And you know, I think with the team too, there is an element of particularly early in the season where you want them to experience to some degree some struggle and figure that out a little bit. And you know, maybe throughout the course of the game, you know, I'll do that a little bit. But you know, hopefully we can learn from these things, because we need to. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Chris, you keep, you know, harping on the things that you want to improve and the concern and all that. If you had been offered 10-1 at this point, and then a performance where you still win handily in the second half tonight, I mean, and then the room to grow, would you have taken that back in October?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You know, sure, sign me up. Yeah, I'm taking it. As a coach, you're way more concerned about how you're currently playing, and addressing those areas that you feel like have popped up that we're not having a full appreciation for how damaging they can be for our team. And that's what's going to keep me up at night.
When you have a big man like Caleb, you know, the common expression is get it down low to him and let him go to work, but it's obviously more complicated than that. How do you get him into a groove like it was in the second half? I know you said, you know, the guy's committed to it, but what does that mean? You
know, we had to move them a little bit. I didn't feel like we moved them defensively in the first half at all. It was a lot of single side shots, miss, you know, play 28 seconds of defense at the other end. I thought we had to move them more. And then once we moved them, our guys did a good job being purposeful about finding him, and he did a good job sealing. But we had no movement in the first half.
Moving them is the other guys moving around.
Yeah, we had to move the defense, and that requires our guys moving. And you know, the ball had to change sides of the floor a little bit, so the defense could change sides of the floor, and that was effective for us.
You talked about, after last game, changing up some of the substitution patterns a little bit. And you did a lot of different lineups in the first half. Were you just trying to find something that kind of clicked? Like, I know you put Andre at the 5 at one point.
Well, just that was more matchup driven. They were playing 5 guards / forwards. That was, and you know, when I say 5, like Kyle Young's a power forward, and we kind of play 2 power forwards at times. So that was more matchup driven with Andre there. Yeah, you know, I might have jumped the gun there in the first half with how quickly I subbed, but I was just disappointed with how we were playing. But it was good to get some other guys in there.
It's not, Youngstown didn't shoot the ball very well either.
Right.
And you talked about a lot how the defensive intensity wasn't necessarily where you wanted it to be. Is it kind of harder to get that message across? And then when you look at the box score and you see that the team that you were playing against didn't necessarily have the best game either?
You know, yeah, sure, but they still shot 40% from 3, and that's a concern for us. I thought the best thing we did tonight was, you know, we had 17 assists, 8 turnovers. But I was made. Our defense was okay, but I was much more concerned about our offense because they've shown the ability to score, but they've also struggled at times offensively. But our offense was, like I said, that first half was rough. Was rough.
What is that like when you're trying to get that fixed? I mean, I'm sure you're looking at the scoreboard and you're going, we're not going to shoot 20% for the whole game. Statistically, that seems like it's not going to happen at least. Like, what is that like when you're trying to get that turned around in the middle of a half? You know,
I think you have to have a little patience with your group. I did like our looks in the last 5 minutes. I did. And the last 5 to 7 minutes, we had some wide open looks. They were good looks. We played off we had a couple one more, played inside out a few times. But I think it's frustrating. It's frustrating at home too. Kind of, we have great fans, but everybody's a little anxious. I just think you got to. What you're trying to tell your guys in that situation, hey, just make the right play, and if we miss it, we miss it. Just make the right play. For 15 minutes, the first half, 12 minutes, we didn't make the right play, and that's on us. But I thought we did a better job of that in the last 5 to 7 minutes. We just couldn't make a shot.
Are there any similarities in your mind between this game and what we saw on Saturday? I mean, you came out of that game with some frustrations and some things to work on. They feel like very different games, but I wonder if you see any common anything.
Yes. I think our effort still needs to get better. But this game was much different. We lacked more purpose in this game than any game we played all year in the first half. In the Bucknell game, I actually thought we played with some purpose. We didn't always play really detailed defensively, and that was what I came out of that game saying. We had to be much more detailed defensively than what we were. In this game, I keep coming back to we got to play with a better idea of what we're trying to do offensively and defensively. Okay, thanks, guys.